I just finished making Roblox in Unity. You know, that game engine that got into some trouble lately because of its plans to introduce a runtime fee? Or, more precise, I made the perhaps darkest and scariest of all Roblox games, and that is Piggy. Yet my own version of it ended up being a bit different to the original, and that is, it is even darker. I mean, just take a look at this Piggy. Or this sniper. Or these shady ruins that form our map. Or these depressing giant trees. Or this apocalyptic sky. And just take a look at how scared the players look. But you can calm down for a sec. I will put the same effort I put into this one into my next Roblox game as well. So please subscribe to not miss out on it. So the first thing I did was to add all the required stuff for multiplayer, which I was utilizing my last tutorial for. And these are namely, I needed to add a network manager to host the game and allow other players to join it. And this client network, animator, and transform component, which in Unity you can just drag and drop onto the object you want to modify. And these will make players' positions and animations kind of synchronized across all clients. But if you think that's it, well, I still ran into some unexpected trouble, as you always do in game dev, and that is, it turned out for me that if you want to override values like whether all the single items have been collected for objects just like the items that don't adhere to one single player, you're not allowed to do that technically by default, and that is why I needed to learn about server RPCs, which means like, instead of setting all these values directly from the client, I'd have to send a request to the server asking to change these attributes for me, which made the entire creation process a bit more complex, as I have to admit. However, after doing that, all the important multiplayer stuff was finally finished, and now my players were able to walk around across the map and pick up items just as they wanted. And as soon as you start the game and your friends connect to it, you can now click onto Start Game, which tells the server to randomly select one player to become Piggy, as you could have imagined, which then swaps its model and animations to this one, and gives the respective players some special rights, like to kill out the players. So as soon as you find yourself as Piggy, you can click left, and you will then swing your baseball bat just in front of you like crazy, killing everything that's in between. And if you find yourself in the unthankful position to get caught by Piggy and hit by it, you will find yourself on the ground just seconds after it, having this lovely text right in your face. Unless you manage to escape, of course, which means leaving the map through this passage, where you're gonna trigger this object that is invisible, obviously, and has no other purpose than to check whether a player is near it, and if so, tell the player that he has won, like as you know it from the original or from other horror games like Dead by Daylight. However, this was far from everything I wanted to include into the game, so to make it a bit more thrilling, I added some more items to the game, like some keys to unlock doors, a wrench, which works quite similar to the keys, but there's one caveat to it that you will see in a minute, and this powerful sniper. And to implement all the single items, I made use of an old programming technique that allows me to get rid of programming all of the important behaviors to every single item, and it is by crafting some kind of a base item that holds all the behavior that is shared equally across all items, which, as you might have guessed in our case, is its network behavior, like the ability to be picked up by players. And then for the keys, for instance, I could just use my base class and add a few simple lines to it, which allows you to unlock doors when you got the key, and you have to be standing close to it, of course. And since I'm able to easily drag and drop the object to interact with, and the object that gets removed after unlocking right here into this field, there was one more thing that turned out to be very useful, and that is that I could use the key script for my wrench as well, where I want unlockable object and the barrier object to indeed be two different things, as I want my player to use the wrench to repair a generator, which will lead to a door to open at a whole nother place on the map, which made my game overall more exciting, as you have to actively solve some puzzles. And there was one more thing I wanted to add to my game, to give the survivors at least the slightest chance of surviving against Piggy, and that is the almighty sniper, which I could again use my base item, blueprint, for it. We'll love to see it, but unlike the keys, the gun has this ammunition attribute to it, and as soon as you find yourself picking it up, you can hit the right mouse button to unleash a powerful shot with it, which will decrease the ammunition by 1, and as soon as it reaches 0, removes the gun entirely from the game. But even more important, you can use it to hit Piggy with it, which will cause him to be stunned for 5 seconds, and play this painful animation on top of it. You have the possibility to get a slight head start from Piggy. Oh, and one more thing, you can have the game, as you can download this entire demo from down below, or just the scripts that I use to create your own Roblox game from it. Oh, and also quick shoutouts to these packages from the asset store. And by the way, guys, this was also the first time that I had the pleasure to use animation layers, which allow me to play multiple animations parallelly, since when the player's holding a gun, we still want him to be able to move, even while aiming. So I needed to make sure that the weight of the attack layer is at 1 as well, and that the actual player aim animation doesn't somehow interfere with the walking animation, so I must only set keyframes onto the body parts that aren't mainly used for the walk animation. And yeah, that was the scary stuff I wanted to show you today. Yeah, I've heard some people talking about Halloween. I'm honestly not sure whether it's next week or did I already miss it by a week or so. If so, I wish you happy Halloween in advance for the next year or so. And yeah, have a nice day. Stay tuned for my next Roblox game, and I'll be catching you next time.